and improve our graphing, and a lot of these little details you guys have no clue about. Some you're good, you're experts. Others, clueless, no idea. So a little bit of a graphing review. Number one, we're going to graph the slope-intercept. Okay. So that's when the equation's in the format y equals mx plus b. If it's not in this format, we can make it that format. And so m is going to equal our slope. Okay. And our slope, we want to make it a fraction. It's y values over x values. So, in case you didn't know, for y, positive numbers we count up. Negative numbers we count down. For x values, negative numbers we count left, and positive numbers we count right. Only use a negative sign in one position. Okay, you should never have double negative signs. And then you're simply counting. Okay. For b, this equals your y-intercept. Is where you cross the y-axis. Okay. If it's plus b, then it is positive, and if it's minus b, it is negative. I do that, and I say that, so you're not confused with the slope-intercept. Sorry, slope point. Did it myself. Because the slope point, don't write this part down in blue. Okay. Remember with our slope point, we do that funny, oh, it always must be a negative. Okay, it's not the case for the slope-intercept. So it is not like that. All right. So I'm going to give you something simple like y equals 2x minus 3. I want you to tell me what is m and b. Y equals 2x minus 3. What is m? Alina?
M is 3 minus 6.
M is always found in front of.
Yeah.
So what is, it's 2.
2.
2. 2x, 2. So what is 2 as a fraction? A Tinder. Good. So, looking here at this, okay, looking right over here, what does a plus 2 tell you to do? Up 2. And then the 1 is your x value, and pauses go to the right. So plus 1 tells you to go right 1. Okay. Question? Oh yes, sorry. Yeah, I didn't change back, did I? Sorry about that. Please write it down. What is B? Haley. What does that mean, Haley? What does that mean, though? Good. And which one's the y-axis? This one? Good. Okay, now on your graph, on your piece of paper, you can graph this easily. Make a grid by going in between the line and on the line. In between and on. So up and down is real easy. It should be pretty accurate. You girls need to back your desks up. Much too close, okay? Because it's like 6 inches or so. Hard to move that. Okay, move that. Good. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Now left to right, you got to judge it. Just try and keep it equal distance. Okay. But you'll still be able to graph accurate enough for our purposes. So now you have somewhat of a grid on your piece of paper. Okay. So what do we start with? Austin, what do we start with? Good. So the negative 3 is right here. Plot the point. Then what do we do? Pav and P? To do what? Sorry? What do we count? Right. Okay, so up 2, 1, 2, right 1. There's your next point. Now you can make a line. Now because I don't have corners on my grid, I want to make a super long line and show that it goes forever. So because I don't have sides on my grid, I want to use arrowheads. And you're going to get questions wrong if you make a small line. So don't make a short line. You need to have a long line. And you're not going to see your answers. And you'll be confused. So make a long line with arrowheads. Now in your homework, you'll have the edge of a grid. So you're welcome then just to touch the edges. But for us, we want to have arrows to surely go forever. Yes, Michaela? Oh, okay. Good. Any other questions? Okay. Now we're going to use the same grid for the next line, so you don't have to draw 30 grids, okay? So this is question number 1. Let's label the line with the number 1. And then let's do a number 2 over here. Number 2, let's say y equals -3 over 4x plus 4. Okay. Tell me what is m and tell me what is b. Michaela.
M will be -3.
Good. What is b? Justin.
4.
Good. Plus 4, okay? So you're going to plot the plus 4. Do that now. So you should have it right here on the intercept, up high, okay? Now what does the -3 over 4 tell us? Look up here in the green box that I'm highlighting right now. Okay, what does a -3 tell us? Alina.
Down 3.
Good.
Minutes.
Yep.
Right 4.
Right 4. Okay, so now you can count. Down 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a pretty accurate way of showing where our line is. Make a long line, use arrowheads. Yep.
If we didn't use arrowheads, would we get it wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. And people have gotten it wrong. And some people make like little lines like this. I even saw people graphing this as a straight line. Like they're saying that's a straight line. No, I'm not joking. Lots of you did. Or some of you even did that. Because your points were off and you couldn't figure out why you didn't get a straight line. You didn't go back and check your work. Yes, Alina.
So if you didn't get +4, would it be honestly just short 4?
No, it wouldn't. I just wanted to overemphasize that it has the same symbol for this equation because it's different than the other equation. Okay? Good question. Any other questions you guys have? Okay, we're going to do one more on the same grid. Question number 3. 2x plus 4y minus 8 equals 0. So now I'm stepping up a notch because I have it in a different format. So you're going to have to change first. Okay. So what's the first thing you should do? Yes, Ashley. How do you remove this plus 2x? Minus. Now I'm looking in front for the plus, and that's why I decide to minus. Now this minus 8, can we move it at the same time? Haley? Sure. How would you move it, Haley? Good. So we're left with plus 4y equals negative 2x plus 8. And you don't need to write the plus in front of the 4. Okay. What's the next thing? Yep. Divided by 4. So y equals, now what I like to do So I like to show that I'm dividing the entire side by 4y. So both of the right side, so both terms on the right side get divided. And so we're left with what? Y equals, no, keep it to yourself. Make sure you're dividing both terms. Jordan Watkins, what's the number in front of x? Good. Negative 1 over 2. And what's our intercept? Jesse. Eight divided by 4 plus 2. Okay. Please graph that. Go. Okay. So our intercept is plus 2 right here. Down 1, right 2. There's our other point. And now we can make our line. Notice how green and the blue line aren't parallel. They're close to parallel, but not quite. So eventually they will cross. Okay, they will cross eventually. Any questions? Okay, so everyone should be able to graph slope-intercept form. Most of your equations are going to be like question 3, right? It's in a general form or half general form, and you got to change it to y equals mx plus b. What you also have to be able to do for part number 2 is you have to be able to graph by axes intercept. Okay. So you guys are struggling with this as well, because half you don't know how to find them. So many of you on review number 2 just cheated and guessed on the intercepts. You thought the intercept had an x value attached to it, just because the equation said that. So let's go negative 2, actually let's go positive 2x minus 3y plus 12 equals 0. Okay. So you want to find your x-intercept. How do you find that? Alina.
Minus 2.
No, absolutely not. Jesse. Kyla. Kayla. Capri. Herman. It's that easy. Y equals 0. Okay. Now, what we can do is we can move this plus 12 to the other side right away. How would you move a plus 12? Minus 12. Okay. And so you're going to get 2x minus 3y equals negative 12. And when you substitute in now, you get 2x minus 3 times 0 equals negative 12. So your y becomes 0. Go ahead, solve for x now. This is what you should have done in review 2 several times, and you didn't. You just guessed at it. Okay. So now I want you to list it as a point, please. That's what we're doing for the homework. You need to make the connection. Justin, what is it as a point? Good. Negative 6, 0. Okay. Now you need to go and find your y-intercept. How do we do that? Jordan Watkins? Opposite intercept, so opposite Good. X equals 0. So we get 2 times 0 instead of x minus 3y equals negative 12. Don't just look at the equation and guess, folks. Okay, go ahead, solve for y, and be super careful here. Okay, so we get minus 3y equals negative 12. So y equals positive 4. What is the point? What is your y-intercept point? A Tinder. 0 and 4. Good. Now I want you to graph it real quick. Okay, make up a grid. Both of them, because you want to graph the equation. You want to graph the straight line. Okay, so your line should look something like that. This is number 4, so we'll label it number 4. Any questions? Let's do one more. Negative 6x minus 2y plus 24 equals 0. Graph that line by finding your intercepts. So find your x-intercept first, then go find your y-intercept. Go. Then graph it. Call that number 5. Okay. So, for your homework, let's go over the very first worksheet. Okay. This one right here, according to some students, what's the true purpose of homework? I want you to show our work. If you can't show it on the piece of paper, then use a separate sheet. Oh, you don't need a separate sheet. Yeah, you might. Separate sheet if needed. Most of you would be able to show your work on here because there's enough space. Any questions about that one? You're changing these all into y equals mx plus b, and then you're finding your m and your b. Take the time to change them. All of you guys are just looking at it and guessing, and you're not getting them right. You need to practice the simple algebra skills. Any questions? Okay, turn it over. Next one. Okay. Again, you need to change this one, why does a poor man drink coffee, into y equals mx plus b and graph it. So this one should go pretty quick. Now notice, 5 over 2, what does that equal? As a decimal, 2.5. You can plot 2.5, folks. And if this is 2.5 right here, you could go down 1 and over 1. Right? So you can totally use your slope. You're not going to be on the corner of a grid because you started halfway in between one of the squares. But you can still, so you should go over 1, not half. You can still make your line. Okay? So one of these, I'm not going to tell you which one, is going to end up like that. It's okay to have an intercept of a decimal. Okay? We try and cook it up better. This one here, Zorna and the ketchup, find that one. Do it last. Okay, please do it last. Because by this time you've already done a fair amount of this. So do it last. You want to graph using y equals mx plus b. So you are not doing the puzzles. Cross this all off. You are not doing those. Cross off the bottom. What you're going to do is graph this. Here's equation 1. You're going to graph equation 1 on the back side on grid 1. Any ideas on what you're going to graph on grid 2? What are you graphing on grid 2? Number equation 2. Where are you going to graph equation 4? On graph 4. Okay, they're all numbered and labeled for you. So on the top, you might even write down the equation to help you. Do this one last. Any questions? Yes, Selena.
Last before did you hear about?
Absolutely last. No other worksheet should be after it. Good. Then turn it to, which other one do you guys have?
Did you hear that?
No, there's one more graph. Cross off Jensberger. Okay, what did the doctor say? Cross that whole sheet off. My photocopying got screwed up and the page was turned over, okay? So cross that one off completely. No, not done yet. Good. So what you're going to do for did you hear about, you're graphing that on the last page because you have for your grids A to L. Right? So if you look on your grids, here's your equations A to F. That goes on your graph. So did you hear about, you're going to find your intercepts and then graph them. You've already done this worksheet. It's so poorly done. Half you just guessed. You had no idea really what you're doing. I'm sorry for the other 5% that did it really well. Okay, you can whip through it. Okay. I don't know where they are. Why would you do that? Okay. Now, so did you hear about, you're going to graph here on the last page. We're going to check our graphs tomorrow. So you can write on here, did you hear about? Okay. Any questions? So this would be like the third thing you kind of did, right? So start on the very first page, front and back. Okay, starting here, front and back. You should be able to whip through these quite quickly. The other class got close to being done, okay? But they worked hard. All right.